34 NBA scouts from 21 teams in the house today. The stars will be shining. Number 23 was picks against top 25 foes. BYU coming off a 2-point loss to then number 3 UConn on Saturday. They enter at 3-1. Wisconsin unblemished, controlled by the Badgers. Wisconsin dressed in the all-whites, BYU in the alternate black with that royal blue trim. 9 to shoot for Wisconsin. A 3 wide right, and the rebound out of bounds. It stays.
Pressure release foul for this Wisconsin offense.
Saunders, his first touch. Here's DeBonta, the freshman phenom, 21 of his 25 in the second half against UConn. Right, lob over the top. Keita in traffic, able to stick it.
Grown man catch, grown man finish from Keita, and boy, did they miss that in that UConn game.
One-on-one in the lane. Winter, offensive rebound, back to the well, and he drops it in.
And that's where Wisconsin can really hurt you. They have the 7th tallest roster in the nation, and Nolan Winter's footwork and that feathery touch, he just gets better every single season.
Averaging over 14 points, shooting 60% from the floor for the Badgers. Right, knifing, up and under, a miss, and Winter clears. From the top, trailing 3 is short. And the rebound, the BYU point guard, Robert Wright III, the transfer from Baylor. 2 minutes in. DeBonta walled up. Outside, Baker coming off a big game against the Huskies. Delivers the corner 3.
Dawson Baker is shooting 50% from 3 this season. The perfect role player complement to Richie Saunders and A.J. DeBonta.
The most veteran guy on this BYU team, over 40 career games with the Cougars. Boy, to catch and release 3, around and out, blocked well. It's a man's rebound, and he will earn a trip to the foul line. Dawson Baker, 8 of 15 on the season now from downtown.
That's about as clean of a look as you can get. And truly, that was a total breakdown defensively from Wisconsin. Austin Rapp got caught ball watching. That's what happens when you're trying to pay attention to the potential #1 pick in the NBA draft.
On the other end, Wisconsin, they don't miss their free throws. Since the beginning of last season, they are shooting 83% as a team. Easily the best mark in the country.
This young man at the free throw line, John Blackwell, he's shooting 87% from 3. Every time I watch Blackwell on film, I'm convinced. I think he's the most underappreciated combo guard in the country. Just awesome pace and tempo about his game. He's just never sped up.
He's top 7 in the Big Ten in scoring on the young year. DeBonta's 3 rattles off.
I would be worried defensively if I was Wisconsin. Way too rhythmic of a look for DeBonta. He can make that.
Austin Rapp hears it from the mostly BYU crowd here in Salt Lake City. We're at the Delta Center, home of the Utah Jazz.
The students travel. The BYU student section is here.
Wisconsin coach Greg Gard told us they'll put a whole plethora of guys on DeBonta throughout the 40 minutes. Deep in the timer, right, jitterbugging. Saunders, his 3 is money.
That was filthy from Rob Wright. You want to talk about handles. Man, and a good sign for BYU. Richie Saunders knocking down a 3 because he did not make a 3 in that UConn game, went 8 for 7.
Blackwell misses the rebuttal. Nice touch pass underneath, and Rapp can't finish. DeBonta bothering the shot. Wright struggling with his dribble, and a whistle and a foul called. It will be Wisconsin basketball. It's on Rob Wright III.
Because Arizona, the more they win, that's the best resume in the country. I think they're should be number one in the country on Monday.
The Jazz CEO, you saw Danny Ainge sitting courtside. Wisconsin with the basketball, down by a bucket with 10 to shoot. They enter it into Winter. It stays with the Badgers. Knocked out of bounds by BYU.
That was a good hold and dig by the freshman, number 7 for BYU, Hadim Boop. 6'9", tough matchup, held his own.
Wisconsin leads the Big Ten in made threes on the young year. They've started 0 for 5 from distance and a missed runner from Boyd. Saunders knifing through, and he draws a foul. It's on Nick Boyd. It is his first personal foul.
So much conversation about A.J. Dibonsa, and rightfully so. But Dibonsa's so good that we forget how good Richie Saunders is, who's first team all Big 12 last season and the most improved player in the Big 12, and he's averaging a quiet 19 points a game.
And remember, Saunders went off against this Wisconsin team in the NCAA tournament. He had 25 points and 7 rebounds. 7 to shoot. Dibonsa may have been grazed on the 3. It barely nicks the rim. And rebound the Badgers. Wisconsin has it scored in 2.5 minutes. They've missed their last 6 shots. Pick and pop, the big fella from beyond the arc. That is flat, and the rebound to Maruss for BYU. Dibonsa draws a crowd. Extra pass. Wright gets a clean look. He delivers the 3.
That's the way they want to play. All set up by the hockey assist from Dibonsa and the extra kick by Saunders.
Transition defense, a huge point of emphasis for Wisconsin in this game. Blackwell muscling into the lane, and an offensive foul called on one of Wisconsin's top scorers at 19.5 per game. That is his first foul.
This is a good show of Dibonsa's IQ. He knows by drawing 2 or 3 defenders, he's going to have a kick opportunity. And the 2 guys that he could potentially kick to are both elite 3-point shooters.
And what can that do for Rob Wright's confidence early on? He's been struggling from 3, just 33% before that one.
Yeah, he shot 35% as a freshman last season. And you have to treat him like someone who's close to a 40% 3-point shooter. So defensively, that has to be, you got to have a hand up and close out immediately. But from a confidence standpoint for Rob Wright, it's more about confidence for BYU, because you want to talk about taking pressure off everybody else. And if Tyler Morris is starting to make threes too, look out.
Just his second of the year. He had started 1 for 8 on the season. BYU's on a 9-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes. They lead by 8, their largest of the game.
He's one of those elite role players for BYU. Shot 38% from 3 last season. So much is happening with BYU's dribble penetration, not to score, but to drive and kick.
The Badgers need a bucket. They've missed their last 7.
This is an interesting lineup for Wisconsin. Right? With turnover happens, but there's no Nick Boyd, there's no John Blackwell on the court right now. Who orchestrates the offense and who becomes the go-to scorer for Wisconsin? Something to pay attention to in these next couple minutes until one of those guys checks in.
That's their second turnover.
And Blackwell just checked in.
Badgers have been one of the best in the nation valuing the basketball. Just 9 turnovers per game through 4 contests. Dibonsa has Andrew Rohde on him, mid-post. See if he uses his length. Their turnaround, that is pretty.
You're so worried about the 3-point shooters for BYU that he didn't get a double team that time. There wasn't extra gap help.
25 against UConn, 21 in the second half. BYU's on an 11-0 run over the last 3.5 minutes, 11-0. Blackwell trying to end the drought. He can't, and the rebound, AJ.
But I like that play from Blackwell. He's so good at playing off of 2 feet. He'll make that.
Saunders, stop and start. He burrows, he misses. The tip in on the follow is there. Hadim Boop, the redshirt freshman from the Senegal, puts it through. Quick rise three, Carrington, buckets.
Transfer from Tulsa, who also played at Minnesota. Shooting 38% from three this season.
The tempo is increasing, the intensity is ratcheting up. BYU has a 9-point lead on a 13-3 run, and we have a foul on Rhodey. That is the third Wisconsin team foul.
Well, that's the dangerous thing about this Wisconsin team. We talked about the height, right? They're the 7th tallest team in the country per KenPom, and how great of a free throw shooting team they are, but they shoot a ton of threes. They shoot about 32 threes a game, and they don't turn the ball over. You're going to be in every single game you play when you have those kind of numbers.
Offensively, these two teams have been mirror images of one another on the young season. Outside, Russ lines up another three. That one is short. Long rebound, and it stays on this end. Next dead ball sends us to immediate timeout. A collision. 3-point shooting. BYU a blistering 4 of 7, 57%. Meanwhile, the Badgers just 1 for 7.
It's coming off the ball movement for BYU. They've got 5 assists on their 7 made field goals this afternoon.
Shot clock at 6. Russ down the lane, pitches it out, wild pass, and BYU with their 3rd turnover.
And that's not Russ's game. Got too deep, got stuck. What is it? You know, every coach from the 1950s will say, don't jump and pass it, James. I still used to do it back in the day. That's only because I was 5'10". I had to. I didn't have a choice.
And it just looks cool.
That's right.
You were an and one mixtape.
No, I was so far from that.
7 different BYU Cougars have scored, and it's been Carrington on this end, keeping the Badgers alive and well. That's his 2nd 3.
Great help on the baseline by Winter.
Saunders, 2nd thought 3, short, and Wisconsin cleans up the rebound with Blackwell on the trot. Driving kick, a good look. Winter, 5th Badger offensive rebound, their 3rd basket off of second chance points.
And he is just so good. One of the more underappreciated big men in college basketball. Took a huge leap in his game last season. Ton of work in the weight room.
One of several 7-footers on this Badgers team. Badgers are on an 8-0 run. BYU needs a basket, so they go to DiBonsa, and he heads to the line for a pair. That's the 2nd on Braden Carrington.
Not sure how you stop that. We saw this in the UConn game. Watch the big step. He covers all that ground, and you're worried about the shot, but he shows the pump fake. Such high IQ play from DiBonsa. I actually asked Coach Young about him before the game. And everybody's talking about DiBonsa, and we're going to continue to talk about him, and Coach Young's had to talk about him a lot. But I thought he gave him an incredible quote, which was, he's the smartest film watcher of any young player I've ever been around. And that speaks to DiBonsa's maturity, work ethic, and IQ. And we're talking about, you know, Coach Young's been around some of the best players in the country, particularly a guy like Devin Booker at the Suns. High praise from your head coach.
And DiBonsa's poured in 20 points twice already on the young season. Wisconsin 3 off the back rim, a miss from Rhodey. BYU by 6 with possession. They haven't made a field goal in 2.5 minutes. Right, spin move, step back, that is nice.
Now that's a guy that could be on the N1 mixtape. Rob Wright has got filthy hands.
That's 5 points. Winter, top 3. Rebound and around, loose ball picked up by DiBonsa. BYU pushing tempo, big steps and a foul on the floor. Team foul number 7 set Baylor freshman records in assists per game. Had a 13 assist performance, scored in double figures 22 times, and he's averaging almost 18 per game for the Cougars. DiBonsa at the line, the 1-and-1, and he'll get the back end. A look at the preseason All-Americans. How about this company? J.T. Toppin from the Big 12's Texas Tech. DiBonsa. Braden Smith, we know how good he is.
I think there's a really good chance at the end of the season you might see 2 players in the Big 12, additional players on that list if it's not DiBonsa. P.J. Haggerty of Kansas State, who just dropped 34 in Mississippi State. He was an All-American last season. There's Rob Wright lob.
Uzan at Houston. Wright here at BYU. You mentioned Haggerty. Missed 3
You
from
got to put Nick Boyd in that conversation, too. He's having a tremendous start to the season for Wisconsin. I mean, easily playing like one of the best point guards in the country. Taman Lipsey for Iowa State. There's a little bit of that full court press for BYU.
Boyd is on the bench with 2 fouls. Rapp goes coast to coast, but he can't connect. 4-on-2 break for the Cougars. Wright cycles it out. A symphony of signals from the head of the BYU bench and their coach, Kevin Young. BYU's on a mini 6-0 burst. DiBonsa, fall away. Headed back to the line where he is 4 for 4.
DiBonsa actually got that jumper, that foul jumper, because Rob Wright cut through. Rob Wright did a little shallow cut, which gave better spacing for BYU on the weak side and limited that gap help. So you can actually hear Coach Young scream that out to Rob Wright to do a shallow cut and cut through, and DiBonsa knows what to do with it.
2-shot foul. He has made his first 5 free throws here today, and he came in at 65%.
You just beat me to it. That's why you're a lot smarter and better than me. But he's averaging 20 a game and only shooting 65% from the free throw line. If DiBonsa is, it's not even have to be elite. If he's 75% from the free throw line, he's averaging 24, 25 points a game.
Blackwell on the block. 3 is blocked by DiBonsa. Ahead, Winter.
He's everywhere this afternoon.
Badgers with the interception. Blackwell goes to work. Foul. Wisconsin trying to end a 7-0 BYU run. Another scoring drought for the Badgers. They've missed their last 4 field goals.
I'm going to give you a little stat about A.J. DiBonsa. And he's got some work to do defensively from a help side standpoint, but in 4 games this season, opposing players are shooting just 15% from the field when being guarded by DiBonsa. That's 7th best in the country, according to Synergy Sports. That's pretty good.
That is insane.
Now, we talk about his offense all the time, and there are things that he absolutely needs to work on defensively. But in one-on-one ISO, when he's guarding you locked in, good luck.
Badgers shooting 84% from the stripe as a team in their first 4 games. That's 3rd best in the country.
You wonder if Wisconsin's going to try to use some of their offense to get DiBonsa in one-on-one post-up situation, where if they can get Winter switched on to DiBonsa and see if they can draw fouls. Nice pass.
Underneath, double pump in the finish from Diamande. The freshman from Paris, France, who redshirted last year at Wisconsin. Washington, I should say, rather. Change left in this first session. BYU nursing a 12-point lead. Blackwell pulls up short. DiBonsa the rebound. Stop and start. Wrenches a pass out to Baker. Diamande a 3, pops out.
BYU is getting really clean looks. We're talking a lot about what Wisconsin needs to do on the offensive end, but defensively, things do need to get fixed here.
Rob Wright picks up the foul. Wisconsin with the ball when we come back down.
It really works. And then you can see there's things you need to work on. He says, we just spent our whole time leading up to this game working on all those little things that could be corrected quickly after that UConn game.
Down to 7 on the shot clock. Back and forth. The dish underneath, and a foul on BYU. Jack Janicki is checked in for Wisconsin. And the foul is on Boop.
I love Janicki's his ability to go hezzy, cross, and can bounce a defender and put you on your heels. That was smooth.
Blackwell rises for a 3 and drills it.
Needed that. Needed that from the junior.
That's his first field goal in this first half.
He is shooting the leather off the ball this season. 50% from 3 in those first 4 games.
DeBonsa, he counters with a triple.
6'9", he shoots over 45% from the field off the bounce.
Pushes
pretty good stuff.
Pushes the lead back to a dozen for BYU. A foul on the interior.
There's Blackwell just off a little DHO. He's so good at getting balanced and getting his feet underneath him. Very smooth form. And that's DeBonsa in pick and roll at 6'9". And he is shooting a blistering 62% in pick and roll at 6'9".
Has handles, has length, has control. Badgers have missed a couple of free throws in this first half, very unlike Wisconsin.
He's going to go right over the top.
Elbow jumper, so smooth, so clutch. He's up to a dozen in this first half.
And the worry for Wisconsin is if you double, you've got 3 shooters on the perimeter.
Boop gambles for a steal. He has it. And a dunk. Timeout on the floor. The Delta Center is rocking, and BYU has their largest lead.
So you knew he was going right over to the top. You've got 3 shooters on the perimeter, all hands ready to receive and ready to shoot. How do you guard that?
You can't. Already has 12. 3 for 5 from the field. He's hit a 3, and he's 5 for 6 from the foul line. Boyd lays it in. He's played with 2 fouls. He's been on the bench for about 6 minutes of game time.
Oh my, no way.
Driving kick 3 is an air ball. A wrestling match for it, and a foul called. That'll be on Boop on the inside. It goes against BYU.
Well, Wisconsin really needed that downhill drive from Nick Boyd. That's something that he does exceptionally well, turning the corner, getting into the paint, finishing high above a defender. Good minutes from Nadim Boop there for BYU.
Picked up his 2nd foul, 8th team foul. Wisconsin at the line in the 1-and-1. See if they can claw back. If you're a Badgers fan, what's the ideal number at halftime that you're shooting for to get back in this thing?
I don't think you're thinking about it more in terms of the offense, because I really believe that Wisconsin's offense is so good, they have so many weapons that it'll start to click, especially on the road, neutral site, NBA arena. Shots are going to start to fall for them. Defensively, there needs to be way more on-ball pressure because BYU is far too comfortable moving it wherever they want.
It's a 12-point cushion for BYU. Baker slithers in, puts it home with the left. Back to a 14-point lead. Wisconsin has really missed Boyd. He's only played 7 minutes in this first half. He picked up 2 quick fouls. Carrington downhill, throws it up, and he draws a foul. Goes against Saunders. That is his 2nd.
So this is just a little pick and pop with Baker and DeBonsa, which is interesting because 2 possessions ago, they ran that same thing, and where DeBonsa just got a little bit more space, but now it was Baker. And that's where the gravity of DeBonsa comes into play. You're worried about him. BYU does a great job of a lot of times it looks like they're coming up the screen, and then it's just a go screen, and everybody who go screens is also a 3-point shooter. So you're kind of in this state of uncertainty. Do I stay out there? But if he catches it, then I'm giving up a gap drive. I mean, there's a reason why BYU's offense is the 6th most efficient offense in the country per KenPom.
They've won 32 straight when they score 90 or more, and it's been a lot. DiBonsa underneath. Keita tried to jam it. He will head to the line to shoot a pair.
Kevin Young sees something here between the two-man game of Dawson Baker and A.J. DiBonsa, is they're just doing either DHO, dribble handoff. So they're either just dribble handoff to where they're trying to get a switch for mismatch purposes, or they're trying to create uncertainty on the perimeter with DiBonsa.
First free throws of the half for somebody on BYU's team not named DiBonsa, and Keita can't hit. BYU leaving Richie Saunders out on the floor with those 2 fouls. Inside of 5 minutes before intermission. Boyd gets it around Keita.
He's just silky smooth. He glides to the rim as good as any scoring guard in the country.
Step back, corner 3, Saunders slides across the rim. Kept alive underneath. Blackwell claims it for the Badgers. It's down to a 10-point deficit for Wisconsin. Carrington's hit a couple of threes in this first half. Blackwell's yet to get on track, has just 1 field goal. Loses it. Winter back to Blackwell. Turnaround. That is tough.
Man. Bonsa's had an excellent first half here. You mentioned those 12 points and doing a really nice job of getting to the free throw line. 5 of 6 from the line in the first half.
Rapp connects. Makes it a 9-point BYU lead. I'm James Westling. He is Mike O'Donnell. Top 5 in career threes at UCF. Top 1 in charisma.
Is that true? Do we chart that? I don't have any charisma. You know, I'm like the most awkward person ever. I'm literally making this charisma talk awkward.
Awkward charisma. Charisma is life. It's an 8-point lead for BYU. Wisconsin knocks in both free throws. They're now 9 of 11 at the line. 2.5 to play in this first session. Right. Couldn't capitalize. Here comes Boyd. Carrington a 3. Short. A run out. Saunders ahead. Lays it in.
Rob Wright having vision in the front court to throw it ahead, identify a teammate. Saunders sprinting in transition.
Quick hands. Richie tries to throw. Tested the NBA draft waters. Returned for his final season of eligibility and averaged 20 points per game down the stretch in the last 11 a season ago. And here he is, off the scuffle, bangs it through. He's up to 9.
And when the threes aren't falling, just like you said, James, he finds other ways to affect winning. Those offensive rebound putbacks affect winning.
Blackwell, that's a 1-2. And Keita claims it for BYU. Leading by a dozen. 90 seconds to play before the half. DiBonsa soars in, left it short. Rapp the Euro step, lost the handle. Carrington circles, high off the glass, a miss. The tip in, +1. Winter is here. Nolan Winter will head to the line. Trying to knife into this deficit, and that is the second foul on A.J. DiBonsa.
When every time Nolan Winter steps on the court, he's a threat for a double-double. He's almost averaging that this season. But he's always attacking the offensive glass. You could see him at the very top. No box out from BYU. You have to put a body on Winter.
He has 8 points and 7 rebounds. His dad was on that Minnesota team that made the Final Four back in 1997. inside of a minute to go here in this first half. BYU milking the clock. Double comes on DiBonsa, has to get rid of it. 5 to shoot. Diamande's 3. Rebound Saunders, and Saunders up to 11. Pushes the lead back to 12.
About a 3-second difference between shot clock and game clock. They'll probably take this to about 8 before they go. Here we go.
Blackwell burrows into the lane, and a foul called with 7.6 on the stadium clock. This will put John Blackwell at the line.
That's how the referees have to ref the game. That's how they're taught to ref. Even if it's not an intentional trip, that's going to get called.
8 points. A rare miss at the line. He came into this game 21 for 23 on the year.
They are emphatically, Wisconsin that is, are going to need Blackwell to be dominant in the second half. I mean, that's got to be his mindset for Wisconsin this season, and Greg Gard wants him to have that everyday disposition to dominate.
4 for 6 from the stripe. Already has a 30-point game earlier this year. He set a career high in their second contest against Northern Illinois. 11-point lead for BYU. Wright goes racing into the front court. Baker pirouetting, and he draws a foul. The spin, the collision, and the whistle, that's on Hayden Jones.
Learning opportunity for the freshman. Baker knew it, who's a senior. He grabbed that little pitch pass from Rob Wright in transition, and you just got downhill. You got to keep your hands up, and you cannot put your hand in the cookie jar. Baker's going to know how to draw that foul.
And Baker stays perfect on the year from the foul line. Xavier Staten checks in for the first time for BYU. Highly touted freshman. Played with DiBonsa in high school. Baker, his first miss of the year, and that sends us to